Hello and good morning, everyone. I was going to say, this is BBC News. In other news making headlines today, President William Ruto has tendered his resignation. Gosh, I wish. Oh, God, I wish that man would just resign. But he's got a big ego. Such a huge ego. See what is wrong with Kenyan men? It is our president. No, I am being serious though. It's when someone in a position of power abuses it, he gives men at grassroots levels permission to abuse their power in the home. Because you see, he's using the Christian front, and I'm calling it a front for this reason. He is claiming to be Christian while being very selective about it. Eh? Those men who like to pick and choose Christianity when it suits them. So they're very quick to tell you, submit. And then they leave out the part where Ephesians actually tells you to submit to your own husband, not your boyfriend, not your fiance, not his mother. Your own husband. Not his brother either, because I've had this, oh, but you know, you're the wife of the family. No, I'm not. Nah, sis. I know you'll tell me in Luo culture. I'm like, you have to pick one. So are we being cultural or are we being Christian? Because I don't do church and state. I don't. I'm SDA. I separate them because the last time we had church and state, we had the dark ages where people were burnt at the stake for differing with the Pope. But I digress. And standing in the snow for 3 days because waiting for the Pope to graciously show up. Please read your Christian history. And be very afraid of the times we are living in because nikubaya. Yeah, there's going to be a new world order and we will go back to those times because tyrants and oppressors are not creative people and neither is the devil. They use the same tactics they've been using since the beginning of time, divide and conquer. Lucifer used it in heaven with the angels. The Pope has used it during the Dark Ages. Read about Christian history from, was it 89? What year was this? When the wound, the fatal wound of prophecy, when the beast suffered a wound and it was as if it was dead. It wasn't, no, 89 was very recent. Before 1844, the great disappointment that birthed the Seventh-day Adventist Church, there was a time when this guy, we like him. There's alcohol named after him, Napoleon. Is he the one who threw the Pope in prison? Who threw the Pope in prison? Imagine my history is gone. Yeah, and I'm eating trash food. Food in Germany is horrible. In fact, today's post is a special dedication to Anne, who I believe is the one who dressed me. I'm not stylish enough to buy an outfit like this. I'm not. If you ever see me in anything nice, I either got it that cheap or it was gifted to me. Like this top is from my grandmother. She got it in Australia. Now you see why I'm such an empowered woman. My grandma went to Australia to visit her son because what are children for? When you educate them and you feed them and they are grown and they live abroad, your work when you're old is to go visit them country to country. So she's also been to Germany and she stayed with my aunt. But my grandma is at that age where even when she'd go for sleepovers at my mom's house, she'd complain about her chickens. And we are like, but kuna mtu kwa compound. Like there's someone at home who will make sure the chickens have been fed and kept in the house. And I would just go tell my mom, it's her age. It's okay. Let her go home. And my mom would sometimes feel bad. She'd be like, but I'm giving her everything. I'm like, no, you're not giving her her home. She built her home with her sweat and blood. So she wants to be in the house she's built. You know, it's like anyone who's built back in Dala or has built back in home. You see me, I speak the law sometimes because I was a law girlfriend. I was corrected. It's not wife, it's girlfriend. I was corrected by the man. So I was a law girlfriend for, let's say, 11 years. But during that 5-year break, I was still in touch with his family. So let's call it 16 years, because I don't regret it. I would, if I were to do this again, would I do it? Because that's a question that comes up when you're questioning everything. For sure, I would date my ex again. I would date my ex again because it was good those 8 years. I missed him immensely those 5 years. And then it started to get bad those last 3 years. And because we tried, but even then I think we were trying hesitantly because there was this sense of it didn't work out the first time because of things that were out of our control. I tried to come to Germany in 2012. It didn't work. I was so heartbroken. I didn't try for 4 years. Side note, life in Kenya was good. Like, granted, I was working for a boss who scared me crapless because she's a big deal. Like, she's a big deal person, and I don't know how to deal with authority. It's usually with absolute fear or absolute disdain, as you have gathered from the way I opened this post. So I don't have middle ground, and I've told people I don't know how to half-ass anything. So even with my thesis, which, thank you, Alex, for helping me start working on it. I have an accountability partner for my thesis. So now every week we'll be checking in with each other because he has to be done with his in 3 months. And guess who? So do I. And I want to be done with it so that I'm not even registered, but I want to be done with it so that I can move on to other things. There are other things to be done, like a PhD. So, let me tell you penye ADHD menifika. ADHD had me reporting to work after 7:30. And I don't lie about money. So I've recorded it where like, I worked for like 2 hours. I worked for like 2 hours yesterday. Work that usually takes me 4 to 5 hours. I rushed. Do you know this morning when I woke up, the first thing I was waking up to check, did my supervisor notice? I swept. Just speed sweeping. And if I tell you why I was late for work, I got lost on a tram. Why did I get lost? Because I didn't have Google Maps. Why didn't I have Google Maps? Because my data is finished. Why? Second time in a row. Because now I'm on the YouTube. So sometimes when I'm uploading a video, because inspiration has struck and I have to tap into the creative. So that I feel like that's what my alter ego who posts on social media sounds like. So unbeknownst to me, I was uploading my video with my data. 45 minutes of YouTube. And I have like 10 GB of data. Because I got on this inexpensive plan. By the way, I didn't get on the plan. My ex put me on it. He's very efficient. So he handles, which is why even in the last video I mentioned the plane ticket booking. He's the one who handled it. So when the money came back, and by the way, he and I are very clear about money. Like the one thing I know is he doesn't steal from me and I don't steal from him. Like it's just this last one that he's like, yeah, we are broken up. Why do you still have money that I have put in your account for your schooling and for your upkeep? I'm like, cause you brought me here. So I know the initial conversation I had asked for prenup, and I asked for the prenup kitambo, and now he's claiming he's the one who asked for it. Side note, I even had to go back and ask people I had mentioned, because I consult. And by the way, never date in secret, girls. Always tell at least one person, even if you're sleeping with someone secretly, whether because they're married or whatever. Never, ever refrain from telling at least one person. Make sure you have that one friend in your life who is down for whatever, so that you can tell them, oh, by the way, there's a guy I'm doing a thing with. You don't even have to give her all the details. Although as a Black woman, please give her all the details, where he lives and what he looks like. So that if you go missing, she goes to the social media, hashtag, we are returning Aoko or whoever has been abducted, because we know what's going on. So women, that's my tip for you. Even if you, especially in college when most women report being sexually assaulted for the first time, if you're going to a man's house, and we used to do this in university, because I remember this particular lady I know came and confessed to me that she was struggling with alcohol, and she said she used to live in another room. So she came to our room, because our room was just a fun place. I used to ferment porridge and cook, and we would talk about everything, sex, birth control, School, lecturers trying to sleep with us, all the things that anyone in Kenya can relate to. So I was at Kenyatta University for life. And this whole lecturers trying to sleep with people is not new in Kenya, so please don't come at me for, oh, you're ruining our university's reputation. Please, just leave us. And I'm not mentioning anyone's names because I do not want to be sued. So, someone tells me, by the way, I have a drinking problem, and when I drink, I pass out. And I'm really good at what I do. So, and she was a student. So even as a student, I'm getting paid. Like when you guys go on holidays, me, I'm going to work. And I was like, sis, so what you're going to do is the things we tell women: put a standing order. Don't tell your parents that you're making money. Because watajipanga na pesa zako. Parents will plan for your money. I learned that lesson the hard way. Ati good SDA daughter took her first contract and put it on her mom's table. This is the money I'll be making. Have regretted that to this day. So anyways, save. When I asked my boss, Clara Masinde, I was 28. When I was new at the company, she took us out for drinks after 2 weeks. Was it 1 week? She was like, welcome to the company. This company is like family. She's the only person who's ever said that, and she meant it. We actually were like family. Like, I remember working with Liz and Louisa and Betty and feeling like, these are sisters. Like, down to the, even when you had a difference of opinion on things, it felt like you were fighting with your sister. They didn't feel like colleagues. We ate food together. Even our cleaning lady was like our friend. I'm trying to remember her name. I remember Wangoi. I remember there was a younger one who used to tell us about her kid and how when she'd go to, she didn't live in Kawangware. Where did she stay? Why am I forgetting places I used to buy food from? I know I used to buy food in Kawangware and Kibra because fruits and vegetables are cheaper and fresher from there, and they taste better. Yeah, I used to buy clothes from, when I had money, I bought clothes from Toy Market. Back in 2012, I bought clothes from Ngara, where I could buy a top for 50 shillings. A top like this would go for like 100, 150. 150 was a lot back then, 2012. So 100 shillings for a nice blouse you could wear to the office, because that's when I started working. Those clothes are still with me. That's why I buy secondhand. That's why I buy secondhand sneakers. So let me give you an example. I bought these for 129 euros. And look at that. They're not a year old. They're not. And these are fine. Granted, I went for construction work in them, but I'm so sorely disappointed by the fact that they're chipping at the top, because I don't really kick things. Okay, no, that's a lie. I kick things all the time. So now that's why I got a pair that has that. Because I'm a child, I kick things all the time. I see a football or a pekele. Pekele is a what? A bottle top. Yeah, I think here they call them screw-on caps. Even the normal ones that use a bottle opener to open with. And then I also got these. I'm willing to bet these outlast that pair, because that pair is from the abroad and this one is secondhand. And I can't even explain it, because even my mom buys new shoes. Rolling my eyes at her right now. And I'm like, you can get secondhand shoes and take them to the laundromat to get rid of whatever you imagine is growing in there. And then, because new shoes are coming from the factories, so they're fresh, full of chemicals. Like, so you'd rather that than at most dead skin and fungus, which again, if you go to the laundromat and they're cleaned thoroughly, it's just soap. I don't know. I don't know. I'm very thrifty. There's nothing that's, I'd rather buy things secondhand. They last longer. I don't buy things in the shop. And that's something we used to differ over with my mom. She's like, just love yourself and buy new. I'm like, what for? Secondhand things already exist in the world. There's global warming. Clothes are washing off onto the shores of countries that did not produce them. Fast fashion is a Western problem. In fact, I remember reading this joke. This post is about everything. I'm just happy. Today's a good day. My depression is lifting. Oh, and a part of it has to do with the fact that I went to visit someone yesterday, and we were just hanging out and talking, and they're not feeling well because people have caught the cold, so they were not feeling well, and I'd, I'd I went to see them shortly, and then I went to see someone else. So when I went to see this person, they had a cold because I was just dropping off something. I was like, "Hey, I bought multivitamins. You sounded like crap when I talked to you. I am a horrible person." So I've decided to bring you Epsom salt and vitamin C, magnesium, and ginger tea. Ginger tea here is so good. So, and I've been taking some because I don't stop. And so they looked at me and they were like, "When's the last time you were sick?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't usually fall sick." Then it hits me, "Oh, yeah, that's why they're asking." Then they say, I tell them, "Look, I get a cold once a year. But if I'm not taking care of my health, I'm not taking my multivitamins because food here is trash. Food in Germany is trash. African food is superior." I'm waiting for someone to come after me about that. Then I start presenting them with the facts because I am a scientist and I love taking stupid people down who don't know how to read research or who don't know how to share with wisdom and who just like to make noise for the making of noises sake. Is that a thing? For the sake of making noise, you can't use noise is a what? An inanimate object. So you can't say my school's flag. It's the flag in my school or the flag of my school. Anyway, whatever. I Knowing English is not, it's not a mark of intelligence. I'm also airing this stone because I noticed it's been in the bathroom for a while and I think it needs to be aired. This is why God said that he who finds a wife finds a good thing. I was telling someone even a basic bitch is is a good thing for any man. Because we air stones so they don't mold, and we cook and we clean and we enter the sex. Because I like to believe when Adam saw Eve naked the first time, when he was saying bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh, he did not mean it like, oh, she's so pretty, I just want to hold her hand and talk to her about the love of God. I think he was very turned on by her. But before I am accused of being Sijuha. Yeah, and it's, in fact, no, I don't care for the accusations because is it chapter 1, verse 26, when God says, multiply and fill the earth? This is a joke I like to tell with my girlfriends. He wasn't saying practice the multiplication table. He was telling them go have sex. Actually, it's a joke I like to share because I listened to Michael Todd talk about sex. He did this 6-part series on relationship goals. Michael Todd is God's gift to Christians on sex education. So it's Michael, like Michael, Todd, Todd. Go to YouTube, look for relationship goals if you're a Christian who needs to understand sex and sexuality, all the way to pornography, masturbation, etc. He breaks it down really well. And why I like to listen to him is because he has a lot of Bible truth that he puts in there. Now, people are here telling me, oh, but Michael Todd has changed. And I'm like, and the gospel hasn't. Calm down. When God is saving people, he's interested in saving the people preaching and the people being preached at. So instead of sitting there, as Pastor Henry Wright would say, don't sit there all pious. You are not righteous. It is just Jesus who is. So calm down, listen to the message, and shut your eyes to the fact that he can wear jeans, saggy jeans, and sweatpants to the pulpit. That's not important. To me, it's the gospel he preaches. Secondly, because he's a black man, I will listen to a gospel by a black man quicker than I will listen to a gospel by a white man. If you know, you know. And it's because people are out here glorifying gospels taught by white men, and yet when we look at their ancestors, they're the people who brought the Bible in one hand and the guns in their left hands, and then they scrambled and partitioned for Africa like they were eating cake. Actually, let me use something more apt, like they were dishing out rice at a funeral, at a wedding. Funerals is nyoyo. Yes, and porridge. So anyways, this post is a special dedication to Anne, who has just reminded me. Anne Kiarie is a very private person, but I will talk about her a little and I will beg for forgiveness later. because the only thing I'll say is, out of respect, I've taken that back. Out of respect, Anne is my Christian accountability partner from high school, meaning we've known each other since I was 14. She was CU cheerleader, I was SDA cheerleader. If there's anyone who's held on to God consistently, it is Anne Kiarie. Me, I have gone through the faltering, but where? If there's anyone who's held on to God, it's her. And I'm SDA. And I'm saying this because Anne is Protestant. And Anne has read Ellen White. And Anne has told me Ellen White is a prophet because she has read her for herself. She has read her Bible. She's fasted. She's prayed. If there's anyone who is close to God, who has shown me what Christianity is in actions, in, when you fail, when you falter, in how to treat parents, in how to treat relatives, in how to treat your boss, even though they're not nice to you. My golden example is Jesus, Ellen White, Anne. Well, my mother is in there somewhere, but mostly Anne. And this is why. Anne is a sort of person who has shown me how to behave when you're upset. Take a step back. And so when Anne certified my videos and she said, you're sharing from a point of truth, you're leaving out names, you're not humiliating anyone, and you're giving women permission to share their stories, to live unhealthy relationships, to admit that the church lied to them about marriage being a gift. When I hear that my message is uncertified, I'm like, let's keep doing this. And today I want to talk a bit about the abroad life. We're already 21 minutes in. Today we have water rationing, so I've used wet wipes to clean myself. Thankfully, I took 2 showers yesterday. And it was a hot day and I was outside. And then I slept before 3 a.m., God be praised, because I was really tired. Why was I tired? When we talk about ministry in the Adventist church, or rather when we talk about the Christian life, we talk about it like, I think, a 3-legged stool. If I have messed this up, SDs, please don't come for me. You have to read the Bible for yourself. The reformers during the Dark Ages used to say this. The Adventist church was birthed out of the Protestant movement. And we protested because we looked at the Pope, we looked at the priests, the Catholic priests, and we were like, the Roman Catholic Church is trash. Like, they're preaching ignorance. Like, they're banning like BANNING Bibles so that only the elite class could learn it. And yet even that elite class that had translated Bibles to Latin, which was the language of the rich and the privileged, they don't know this Bible. So those who did know, who had privilege, guys like, I'm remembering the Catholic priest who is my hero, Martin Luther. Not the black Martin Luther. Was he Martin Luther? I know he was a Luther. I think it's Martin Luther, the Catholic priest during the Reformation period. He reads the Bible and he understands. And then he's going up on his knees up the steps, I think at St. Peter's Square. And then he hears, my grace is sufficient for you. And he's like, wait. He has this experience. He has the Damascus experience where he realizes, nah, this is not how I should be practicing my faith. And then he becomes one of the biggest voices to speak up against the Roman Catholic Church. And he says, if we were really to follow what the Bible says, then we would keep all the commandments, we would do what is right. Mark you, at this point, we've not even started getting into the 7th-day Sabbath, which was changed by the Roman Catholic Church so that it was a mark of their authority. Oh, by the way, they admit this. This is not typical, you SDs hate on Catholics. I love Catholics. I love them so much, I dated one. Was ready to marry this guy. We have a problem with the Catholicism. We have a problem with the system. And for me, as Sharon, my problem is with the Pope setting himself up as an authority. My problem is also with people confessing, not with people, correction, with priests setting themselves up as people that people can confess their sins to. Yeah, that is wholly unbiblical. We are supposed to confess our sins to Jesus Christ only. The Bible is very, very clear that the righteous shall live by faith. The Bible is very, very clear that there is one lawgiver and judge. Hebrews is very clear about Jesus Christ being our high priest. We don't need other priests. We especially do not need to also be praying to Mary. She wasn't given that prerogative as the mother of Jesus. It is not biblical. And I know Catholics who do not pray to priests or confess to priests. I know the whole praying is to saints. They don't pray to saints. They don't confess to priests because they say it's not biblical. But I still identify as Catholic, and I'm like, good, you've read the Bible for yourself. And I keep coming at Christians, especially Protestants who don't know their Bible. Shame on you. Because how are you here telling me, but the pastor said? So we are living in the end times, and everyone is very quick to say, yeah, we are living in the end times, there's a new world order coming. Very few people are taking the time to read their Bibles to understand what is going to happen. And I'm SDA 4th generation, so I have privilege. And I have even talked to my therapist about what the Adventist church teaches. I have told her that Adventism is pro-women because our prophet was a woman. And Jesus is a feminist. He's been picking women since Mary Magdalene, since Deborah, since Esther, since Ruth, since Naomi, since Sarah, since the prophets, the three daughters of... There's a guy in the New Testament, and I think it's in Acts, whose three daughters used to prophesy. Lydia was a wealthy woman who contributed greatly financially to Paul's ministry. The righteous church of Revelation 17, the church that does right, which is, when I say righteous, I don't mean better than anyone else. You Christians need to read the root of that word and what it means. You need to start reading your Bible in Latin, you need to start reading it in Hebrew, and you need to understand for yourself. Okay, I haven't done all these things, but even when I listen to preachers, I'm able to go like, this one is not true. Why? Because even the Bible commends the Bereans for being the sorts of people who, when they listened to Paul, the one who wrote majority of the New Testament, they listened and they were like, they went back home, and the Bible is clear, it says, and they went and searched to see if these things were so. And they're commended over the Thessalonians, I think, for doing this. So God, who says, come, let us reason together, is telling us, go read your Bible and confirm what your pastor is saying. But you're here telling me, but my pastor, my priest, the prophet said. What prophet? What prophet is prophesying Jesus will come back and then he doesn't come back and you still believe in him? The Bible is very clear about the marks of a prophet, and I think there are 7, and I'll not even look for them for you. Go to Google and search. A prophecy has to come true. All the prophets of the Old Testament, when they prophesied something, it didn't come true in their time, but 100, 200 years well, not 200. Yeah. There's a prophecy that's coming true 2,300 years after Daniel. So go read Daniel 2 and 7. Go read Revelation 13. Stop reading it through the eyes of your pastor. Read it for yourself and then compare scripture with scripture, because Jesus Christ was very clear when he said not one tittle will be removed. For all those people telling me the Sabbath was nailed to the cross, then why are you keeping the other 9 commandments? You don't commit adultery, you don't murder, you're not supposed to lie, although you do. So why is it that you have the issue with the Sabbath one? And yet, research is literally backing up the fact that working 5 days a week instead of 7 is good for your physical and mental health. So science is proving, because God is a God of science, God is a God of the stars, God is the one who has shown us that every human being is unique. We didn't come about because of the Big Bang Theory, because even the person who came up with that theory, before he died, he said, yeah, this is trash. How many of us know this? We are still saying evolution, and evolution has been discredited. Big Bang. How? Where? And yet, even twins don't have the same fingerprints. That points to a master designer. It takes more faith to be an atheist than it takes to be a Christian or a Muslim. A lot more faith. Because, and it's funny to me, and I'm going to have Naima on this someday, so that she can debunk the myths about Islam. Islam is very pro-women. You guys don't know. Islam is pro-women. Christianity is pro-women. Jesus is a feminist. Go look at the Holy Prophet's life and see when he was telling women when it was safe for them to wear a hijab. Go read, because you see, you're here talking about Islam. You've never talked to a Muslim about their faith. If anything, if you were to sit side by side with a Muslim, you'd better know your Bible. And the only people I commend for doing that are people who are built for ministry in Islam. You go there to them with your Holy Trinity, you're out, because they don't teach that. So, people, can we please read our Bibles for ourselves? Can we know what the Sanskrit and the Gita says, so that when you're talking to people who practice that religion, when you talk to people who, to Hindus, when you talk to Muslims, when you talk to agnostics, when you talk to atheists, you know where they're coming from. Because most of the atheists I've met are people who used to be Christians and they were hurt by Christians, and I have been hurt by Christians. I don't even sign up Christians as clients anymore, to the best of my ability. My favorite clients are Muslims and atheists because they pay on time. And unfortunately, this is the experience of very many people, that religious people, Christians, we treat each other so poorly. Me, the minute I hear someone tell me I tell them, how are you? And they say blessed and highly favored, I'm like, out. Not interested in even a conversation with them. Because in my head, I start thinking, ding, 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 it's giving Pharisee. That's not true for everyone. It's true for very many people, though. Like, not all men, but always a man. So, this is a special dedication to Anne, to say thank you for giving me that encouragement to keep sharing from my lived experience. What was I going to talk about? Oh, yeah, it was just going to be a side joke. There's water rationing in my building from 9 to 4 p.m. So, for 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., for all those people who are sat there thinking, oh, Germany is the best thing, sometimes you call me and my cell reception is bad. And I'm like, yeah, this is not the New Jerusalem. It's actually part of the earth, and cell reception can be bad. The internet can be wonky. Racism-related stress is real. Doctors are doing cleaning jobs. Doctors from Africa and the Middle East are doing supermarket jobs and cleaning jobs to survive, because unless your German is incredibly good, no one in Germany cares for the title you had before you came here. When I first came here in 2014, I met a lady who was cleaning a toilet, and she told me she's a master's holder from Nigeria, and she said, but this money I'm making here allows me to keep my children fed back home. So why is it that I also had someone in church, a grown man, again, not all men, but always a man, standing on the pulpit telling people, young people, don't go abroad to clean old people and to do those menial jobs, because, you can build your own country with what hands that have been shot at by police officers? What Kenya? That is why we are fighting. So this person is the same age as our sitting president. So can you tell? Can you tell the thinking is not thinking? So I'm like, please challenge everything. If you're to come abroad, come to Germany for a very short time. Come get an education, build networks, build back home, far away from your ancestral land. Do not get into the black tax cycle that, so many of us have gotten into. Because when you go back to Kenya with nothing, sis, I don't know how many people will host you. I don't. People are very quick to say they will help you. No one will help you for free when they know you've made abroad money. Now, watu watajipanga na pesa zao. People will really, really plan around your money. They will start, the minute they learn that you have that visa, they'll start asking you for loans. They'll start, people you've not talked to for 3, 4, 5, 6, 10 years will start asking you for 30,000 Kenya shillings, 50,000. What's the most ridiculous I've been asked for? And for me, I'm like, no, I don't have that money to spare. Oh, you'll be added to wedding committees. But the people don't add me to wedding committees. Why? Because I tell them I don't finance people's pleasures. I don't contribute to weddings. I contribute to education. I contribute to medical bills, because I know about out-of-pocket spending. I will contribute, and then I will tell you, please get on NHIF. In fact, my contribution will probably be to help you get NHIF for a year. Yeah. But Don't even come at me. I have children I am educating. I do not have time to be sat here. I have businesses I'm supporting, black-owned businesses by women, you know? And I don't help everyone. I like helping far away from home because I don't like the entitlement relations have to our money. Yani, a relative you've not even talked to for God knows how long comes looking for you. The stories I've been collecting, you guys. These posts are about to start happening every 3 days. And then one day my creative juice will run out. And then I'll go to Kenya on holiday and I'll stop posting because I'll be done with all the things I needed to say. So for all of you who have glorified the idea of the abroad life, it's not all that. So for instance, you have a cleaning job and you're paid 140,000 per month. Rent is going to be sometimes half of that, unless you live in a small student room like mine, which is humble. I sleep on the floor. I've not washed that because you see, African woman guilt. There's no water. And you live minimally. You're not trying to show off. You're not trying to get a big screen TV. This is how we are living in the abroad. It's just a nice hostel, you know? you My priorities are not to live in a hacienda so I can, when people call me and I get on a video call, I'm like, look at my kitchen, it's not mine. It is. If it's a rental, it's not yours, babe. So live simply. For those who come abroad, stop spending all your money. Hey, Kenyans are drinking. Jesus. We are functional alcoholics in Kenya and we are functional alcoholics in Germany, of course, because beer is actually a staple food. So yeah, this time beer was classed as a food. I remember our lecturer mentioning that, and he's native to German, Bavaria, the Bavaria. So come and live simply. Stop eating meat every day just because you have health insurance. You're going to go home with sickness and then we bury you. I remember the first person to use that phrase, Posa. Dr. Posa Aswadi is hilarious and she's a realist. And because she's 10 years older than me, I listen to her. And she's lived abroad for longer than I have, and she's Kenyan. And culturally, we are very close. She's Luya, I'm Kisi. So Luya, Luo, Kisi are very similar in culture. When I talk to my friends from church, because most of my Kisi friends are friends from church, most of my other friends are Kikuyu. Because I don't identify much as Kisi, because I grew up in the city and I barely speak the language. And even these friends of mine speak very little Kisi because they were also raised in Nairobi. So when I talk to my girlfriends who've been raised in church with me, Lily, Rhoda, Olive, who else is a Kisi friend? Priska is Luo, Esther is Luo. So yeah, those tribes are the ones that have a lot of SDAs. But then I also have friends like Kalondu, who is Kamba, and then I have friends who are Kikuyu, Stella, Mine, Anne. And when I talk to, and then I have, by the way, even still speaking of the Western Bloc, Luya is also SDA, like it has SDA, so like Charity and Val. So when I talk to my friends, why am I bringing up tribe? I'm bringing it up because culture. There are certain conversations I have with my friends who've been raised by Kisi parents, Luya parents, Luo parents, and there's a certain conservativeness. But if I want to be unmasked, I found that it's easier for me to unmask in the presence of my Kikuyu friends. This is touching on culture, because I've said this publicly before. I found that very many Luo girls not Luo, sorry, Kisi, and I can speak because I'm Kisi. Luo girls, why do I keep saying Luo? Many of us Kisi women have been raised to aspire to marriage. I wasn't, because my mom was single, but my grandma has always held this. But even my mom has given me a little pressure since I turned 33, 4, 3 is when she was like, yeah, do the proper thing. But for her, the emphasis was always get an education, get your own money, then be happy. Then meet someone who makes you happier. And that's been the standard for me. That's why I have never had any real pressure to be married, if I'm to be completely honest. Because even with my partner, I was like, I don't want to get married. Like, why are we rushing this? You know, the only pressure I had was, the only real genuine pressure I had was Christian guilt. Where I was like, I'm living with a man, like I'm living with my husband, and I really shouldn't. And I'm glad I didn't get married, because now this would have been a whole mess. Divorce is painful. You guys have no idea. Like, I know I am here hurting because this was a civil union, but even according to the Constitution of Kenya, if you're cohabiting with a man for more than 6 months, he's considered your husband. So I have been cohabiting with this person here and there abroad, but I had my own place and he had his own place in 2 different countries. Fine, 3 hours apart. Those countries are 3 hours apart. Well, an hour apart, but it's like he was in Arusha and I was in what? Namanga or Isinya. Yeah, so it's whatever 3 hours is in there. I don't remember. I've not been on a road trip in a long time. But I will tell you, many people think, and I think I've said this before, just because you're the one ending the relationship, you're not hurting. Sometimes you're ending the relationship because you can see you guys are going nowhere very slowly. And you've insisted, you've begged, you've cajoled, you've seduced, you've cooked, you've cleaned, you've screwed, you've read the books on how to give better sex and receive sex, and nothing is working. And so you're like, you know what? I'm so tired of being unhappy and being unable to sleep and having my heart racing every time I'm thinking of going to see this person. I just want to be alone. And then you're alone and you're like, gosh, there's peace. There's pain from the breakup, but there's peace. I'm not as anxious. I'm not waking up in the middle of the night thinking about my life choices. I'm going to bed. I have no time to watch a TV series anymore. Between being creative, between researching for my thesis, between conversations with my girlfriends on phone, because this country is incredibly lonely. So I'm on my phone a lot because this country is lonely. I don't miss being in a relationship anymore. I really don't. And why? Because the standards set for me by my mom and my grandma left her marriage when she was unhappy. To this day, she's been made to pay for it. Why? Because she's 77. I think 77 or 78 or 76. No, it can't be 76. It's already been 2 years. So it must be 77, 78. And when my grandma left, because she just had it with her husband, at the time, I hated her. I absolutely hated her. I was a child and I thought like a child. But now that I am a grown woman, I am able to look back. And I had a conversation with her before I came here. And I asked her, how was it being married to Grandpa? Because I know I loved him and I never gave you a chance. And she's like, he was good to me. But it was hard because he helped everyone and forgot about his home. And I'm like, sounds familiar. Because I attracted my late grandpa. Like, even at 20, I remember looking at him and telling him, you remind me of my late grandpa. Girls, please heal your daddy issues before you get married, or else you will marry your father. My friend Shiko said it beautifully. Again, Kikuyu. Shiko was my college roommate for 4 years, and she taught me so many things in the 10 years we were close friends. And one of the things she said that has haunted me to this day was that sometimes we run away from our fathers and straight into their arms. Even as I say that, I feel cold in my body, and it is probably 28 degrees out, maybe 26. It is hot, but I am happy, and I have no words to describe the gratitude I have for the lessons I've learned from the women in my lives. So this was a special dedication to Anne, but it's also a special dedication to Brenda Mainye, who is my friend through my friend Lily. And this is the thing about women and why we live long. If Koki is another one. Koki Ketili is just one of the most beautiful souls alive, because she has introduced me to so many people who've made me money by becoming my clients, or beautiful networks internationally even. So she was teaching at M-Pesa Academy, and now she's moved to a school in Arusha. Can't wait to go see her. And these are people who've been my friends from university. So I was what, 20? Because the cool people in uni were the ones doing English music. They were nice to everyone, they talked to everyone. People in nutrition class and public health were so stuck up. They were so stuck up. Oh gosh. I think even guys who did medicine in Kenyatta University were not as stuck up as they were. But that was my experience. I could be wrong. Because fine, like people like Wendy was cool. Joanne, who got first class honors, was cool. But there were just these girls who were like, Saki was cool. Ken was cool. The boys were always boys. I don't know. And this is why I got along so well with the dudes. Because there was no drama. But with the girls, sometimes it felt like there was so much competition, which is something we're going to talk about later. Because I know I glorify female friendships, but let's also please talk about the jealousy and the competition, which we have learned from our mothers and our aunties. Be careful. Keep away the single friends after you get married. Keep your man from her. I think an apt way to finish this would be to say, ladies, men are not handbags and purses which can be stolen. And they're not pets either, which can be stolen or hidden quietly in someone's house and locked up. A man is yours when he's between your thighs. When he gets on his phone post-coitus and goes to the loo, he's not yours anymore. He probably at that time belongs to, I do not want to mention socialites by name, so and so, because his mind is there. The one who wants to stay will stay. The one who wants to leave will leave. So the person you should be fighting is not Sharon for stealing your husband. Again, your husband is not a purse. He's a grown man. The person you should be fighting is the husband you married and made vows with. Maybe. Because I know women who've met with the other woman. I know a lady who's paid for, she discovered her man used to go to a strip club. That lady told her, by the way, me, I'm just here for work. I have a child to feed. And so she asked her, okay, where would you like to work? What are your qualifications? She helped her get a new job. And she didn't attack her about her husband. She just wanted closure. I know someone else who discovered she was sleeping with a man who had someone, and that lady got in touch with her and told her, I found some messages. I'm his girlfriend. I just want closure. They met, they had coffee, and they confronted him. The two of them both love women who do that. But women who come after other women at he's doing this. And I've done the same. I discovered I was sleeping with the same guy who was sleeping with someone else at the same time. And I made the chick my friend. Because men are not ours. Wanaume wa soko. Like, men are like wares in a market. You can pick and press and see if the fruit is ripe and put it back down for someone else to come and buy. I will leave it there before people come for me, but men are not the prize, and they don't belong to us. They belong to the market. In our culture, men used to marry many women. I'm also going to address that in another video. It was mostly to protect us from the heavy labor of being a wife. Now that we've insisted we want to be married as only wives, we are struggling. I remember I considered being a second wife. The only reason I didn't do it is because, one, shared love is very hard. It's harder than it looks, because compartmentalizing that he's with someone else is not easy, especially because I've come to learn that men can be very punitive. And the best way they can be punitive in a non-monogamous relationship, or in a relationship where they have financial power or erotic capital, the best way they can be vengeful is to withdraw care. So he knows he's hot, and more women want him than men want you, because now you're pregnant, or now you've given birth to triplets, and now you've had 4 of his kids, and no man will look at you because, as one arrogant fool once said, I'm not going to raise the children of another man. So you know what he does? He knows you need something, he doesn't provide it, including sex, by the way. I've learned it's not just Christian women using weaponizing sex in marriage. It's also men. They know you like sex, they keep it from you. And I remember one man actually telling me that, and he said it as a joke. He's like, I know what you want, I'll just make sure I don't give it to you, and then you'll do what I've told you. I left. I didn't wait 4 weeks. I left because I was like, you are not the prize. I didn't just leave. I left violently. I left and blocked him. And you know, this person can't even go back and say, oh, she used me for my money. What money? What money does he have that can impress me? I don't date rich men on principle, because rich men are controlling and they can get away with killing you. Hapo ndio wanaume wametufikisha. We are literally at a point where we are thinking, so who will not kill me and get away with it? That's what it's like to exist as a black woman in the world, in Germany, in Kenya, and anywhere else. This has gone to 51 minutes. I'm going to stop there. But again, I just want to thank the women who have written me and sent me voice notes and told me I need to get on TikTok. I'm not ready to be famous yet. I think I'll be ready to be famous when I'm ready, and that could be tomorrow. But for now, I just want to let a sister know she's not alone. You're not alone. If he's hitting you, if he's pushing you around, if he's neglecting his children, and you guys go to church and you say happy Sabbath, praise the Lord, you're not alone. Majority of women are there with you. If you're going through divorce and you've lost friends because you're Christian or you're Muslim, you're not alone. If you're considering or contemplating leaving a relationship because you have body aches, anxiety, no peace, you're fasting and praying and nothing is changing because you thought you'd gotten married to someone after God's own heart and it's not working, you're not alone. And this God we serve is a feminist. He will protect you. He didn't punish Dinah's brothers for killing her rapist and his entire family. Actually, his entire clan. God is pro-women, contrary to common belief. And that's why when Abraham engaged in statutory rape, actually not, it's not statutory rape, it wasn't sex with a minor, it was sex with a domestic worker, Hagar. God blessed her because she had been wronged by Father Abraham and Sarah, who knew better than what they did. So God is anti-sex slavery. God is anti-rape. The person who threw Esther under the bus was her uncle by telling her to go give herself to a pagan king. The same way Abraham threw Sarah under the bus by telling her to give herself to two different pagan kings. And yet Egyptians were very nasty people back in the day. If you read on mummification and what they used to do with the dead women's bodies, which some Middle Eastern countries are still doing. But yeah, not all men, but always a man, starting with Adam. So let's read our Bibles for ourselves. Oh, and what do I mean by that? Adam is asked where he is, he's hiding. We heard your voice and we hid. Blame shifting. And he was asked him where he was. And then on top of that, he says, he's asked, did you eat of the fruit? And then he says, it is this woman that you gave me. When your husbands are blame shifting you and you're shook, I'm like, I think it's because we've not read our Bibles enough. And sometimes we need to get frustrated by our husbands in order to read the Bible for ourselves. I've not met a more religious woman, actually not religious, a more spiritual person than someone who's been hurt in her marriage. It's very unfortunate. And fine, mine was not officially a marriage because it was not on paper, even though all my female friends are telling me it was. It's fine, whatever. But I have been hurt deeply and it has forced me to go back and read my history. Remember that I come from a long line of strong women, from my great grandma Jerusa Mongina, and to my grandma Anne Ogugu, to my mom Betty Ogugu, to Sharon Ogugu, which is why I'm never dropping my last name for anyone or anything ever. I will not even hyphenate it. If by some miracle of heaven I end up married, I'm not changing my last name, because that name Ogugu is my heritage and my pride. But marriage is not the goal. Let me just stay married to Jesus because I'm having so much fun being his wife. And I'm still selling these for 25 euros. If you're in Kenya, the orders are still being placed. Just let me know and support a girl child, support a woman from Maasai land. The economy is trash. But the one thing I've realized, Harambee is better in Kenya. Kenyans come here and change. I know one Kenyan rugby player who said he'll buy one of these, and I'd like to thank him so much. Alvin, thank you so much for agreeing to support my cause. Spread the word. I'm selling wares to support girls in Kajiado who need to support their children, their families, and who need to support themselves. This one is a gift. I am not selling it, but it goes beautifully with a white blouse. So if you need any of these things, including waist beads, because I do have friends from the coast of Kenya, this one came apart and that's why I've replaced it. Yeah, you can buy stuff for 1,000 shillings, you can buy stuff for 500 shillings, because why are we selling it at so much? Because the prices of everything have gone up. In fact, I'd wanted to share that with you as well. Oh my gosh, this post is about everything. I buy local because I build local, and my daughter Liz got me these things. That's why her name Elizabeth is there. And Elizabeth Matayan is a girl who, let me see. I just sent her to buy me these. That's from Quickmart. Quickmart is a really good supermarket. Like, I remember it fondly. 1 kg of chana dal is 393 shillings. Butterfly yellow beans is 320. Ugali afia is 240, which is fine. It used to be 250, but I know 240 is a lot for unga, because ugali is our staple food. So if you see that ugali is 240 shillings, I don't know how Kenyans are surviving, because 4 packets is 1,000 shillings. Na kazi ya mjengo, yeah, people are still paid 500 shillings to build, to do construction work daily. So if you buy ugali, and this is ugali afia, yes, but if you buy 2 kgs of ugali, but in the slum they send for flour from home, but still it's expensive, it's too much. Sometimes that flour will run out and you need to go to the shops. Yeah, it's sad. It's really sad. It's really, really sad. So yeah, if you want to support a girl child, if you want to buy anything from Kenya, oh, and also if you want to buy sneakers like mine, which will last forever, Nike Air, I got these for like 30 euros. Tell me, I will bring them over. Or I'll have a way to bring them. I have networks here, so they'll be brought from Kenya, and then you can buy them to support my cousin Spencer, who is a very entrepreneurial 20-year-old who sells sneakers in Nairobi from Gikosh. Gikomba Market is the place to get things. It's just I'm scared of going there alone, because you always have to put your phone in your bra or something. I miss home, you guys. I miss home. 58 minutes later, and 5 minutes of saying this is the last thing. This has been so much fun. I'll talk to you soon. I'm going to buy water to brush my teeth and drink, because I have a guest coming over in like 2 hours and I can't wait. Bye, guys. Mwah. Stay happy and healthy. I stole that from Dr. Mike. He's the hottest doctor I know online. No, there's another one. There's a Nigerian guy, although I think he's married, so let me not say much. Dr. Mike is single. I still have a lot of respect for marriage, by the way. I was raised this year. I was raised proper. See you guys.